Now, you may have found odd things in your house when rifling through old boxes, stuff you probably didn't remember that you even owned. But when Dawn Baxter had a rummage amongst her late mum's possessions recently in Woollerton, she pulled out something pretty special. It's a real piece of wartime history. A signed letter from King George VI, dated September 1945, thanking a man named Robert Reed for his efforts during the war. Now, Robert survived the terrible torture and beatings of a Japanese prisoner of war camp after being captured. And Dawn is now desperate to find the now late Robert's family. BBC Radio Nottingham's Pip Watts has been finding out more.
My mum told me that it took Bob a long time to talk about his troubles, but he did tell her the story that 12 of them were brought out of prison and were blindfolded, and Bob thought they were going to be shot, so he just prayed it would be quick. And then suddenly there was a shout, and they were unblindfolded and told to go, and another 12 soldiers came out, prisoner of wars came out, and they were blindfolded, but they weren't too bothered because they thought it was just another torture, but actually then they were shot, and Bob was escaped with his life.
Dawn Baxter recounts tales, some shocking, of Private Robert Reed's life, all captured in her late mother's writings.
Right, this is Mum's diary. As you can see, it's full of plastic wallets, lots of pages, no punctuation.
And it's in these diaries that Dawn discovered how her mum Connie knew Bob as a girl.
Mum would be 14. I think they were amongst a group of friends. I think Bob would be about 18, and she quite fancied him. In fact, in later years I did meet him, and he was a handsome man. I could see why she liked him. And he liked her, and they used to go out together as a romance, just a kiss and a cuddle, nothing more. And then Bob signed up to join the army, and off he went to Singapore for 4 years. So.
And then your mum carried on her life, met your dad, had a marriage, but then Bob came back from war after his Japanese prisoner of war camp experience.
Yeah, and he lived at Bilborough. My mum had 2 sisters who lived at Bilborough, and she used to go up there every week, and it transpired they sort of knew him, and then he would come along every Saturday to see my mum. And
now, how did your dad feel about this? Because she was married then.
No, he was quite happy. He used to take her up there. He met Bob and he liked him. He was a good man, Bob was.
Bob died at a care home in Bilborough in 1996, and Dawn's mum passed away in 2008. So did your mum have a lot of boxes and stuff?
She had hundreds of them, yes she did. And
it was when Dawn was searching through her mother's belongings quite recently here in Woollerton that she found a letter from King George VI to Bob acknowledging his suffering.
Well, it's a certificate from Buckingham Palace signed by King George, just welcoming back the troops or the prisoners of war. But no, I don't know when he gave it to or why he'd give it to, and not one of his children.
What did you think when you first saw that?
Well, a bit sad really. It makes it all more real, doesn't it, that these people did actually have a terrible life, but at least it's been recognised.
Yeah, I mean, and King George VI here says, through all the great trials and sufferings which you've undergone at the hands of the Japanese, you and your comrades have been constantly in our thoughts. So, it's quite a heartfelt sentiment.
I think my mum might have put this in her frame. On the back she's written, "This was given to Private R.J. Reed, Bob in brackets, on the Queen Mary liner after release from a Japanese prisoner of war camp." I Mum had told us the stories about him before I'd met him anyway, so he's always part of my life. Well, he had 2 sons, and going through this, one died at 24. He was in the Merchant Navy and was killed. And his other son, I say, he was a police officer in the Met. I don't know what happened to him. Now he's the one I'm thinking may be able to have this certificate. Michael.
And was it Michael Reed?
Michael Reed, yeah.
Is that all you know about Bob's family?
He had 2 sisters, and I think they'd be sort of local, Nottingham people, but I don't know what their names were.
Or whether they're still here.
No. But they may have children, you know.
What do you want to happen now, Dawn? Are you hoping somebody listening will know a member of Bob Reed's family locally?
Ideally, yes. I'd like it to go back to the family. If not, then I'd like somewhere like Nottingham Castle, though I did write to them and they didn't seem particularly interested. Or the Newark Air Museum, if they would like it, just so it's not forgotten. I don't want this brave man's life to be forgotten.
Interesting. So does that mean anything to you? Have you ever heard of the name of Private Bob Reed before, of Bilborough? And because his family, I imagine that's going to be really quite an impressive thing for his family to have. And at the moment it's just in a box, and Dawn wants to give it to somebody who's going to appreciate it because it's about a member of their family. So can you help? in finding a family member of Private Bob Reed from Bilborough. If you can, feel free to get in touch. 0115 934 3434 is the number. Going to try some other methods as well to try to see if we can track down the family of Private Bob Reed. So watch this space. It's 7:45. By the way, you can see the signed photo, signed by King George VI, on BBC Radio Nottingham's Facebook page.